Happy Friday, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. Like, maybe just a bit of a context for what I'm doing today. I'm a big podcast person, so I listen to quite a bit of podcasts. And the ones that I like are really like the ones where somebody is just having a genuine conversation with somebody, right? And I don't really care for like podcasts where there's like multiple people talking at the same time. And when I'm working, because my work consists of me honing in into the computer and developing the algorithm, so I get people asking me constantly, what's a good podcast? So I thought to myself, I was like, maybe I should do my top 5 podcasts of all time. And then I'll give you the number, or rather my rating, and then I'll also give a little bit of a context why I think that podcast is as good in my world. So I'll start with Vlad TV. So Vlad TV is an amazing podcast to me. Really, it's something that got me into YouTube. And the reason why I enjoy Vlad TV so much is because of how innovative he's changed the podcast game, right? Like before Vlad TV, or rather before Vlad the Butcher came into the game, every podcaster had like a 2-angle or maybe like a 2-dimensional type of capturing footage. But Vlad, what makes him great is that he keeps the story centered on the host, on the guest. And that entire time, the camera is just focused on that one guest, and it's not doing all these crazy moves like paneling from up and down or going from side to side or changing angles and all that crazy stuff. It just keeps you focused on the guest, and in that time it's just telling his story with very minimal input. And to me, I like the cadence of the interviews too, the seriousness, and just the level of detail that he jumps into the guest stories. So to me, at least in my top 5, that makes it number 1. And then my number 2 would be Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan, it's kind of a similar interviewing style as Vlad. The only difference is Joe Rogan, maybe sometimes they dig into too much intellectual things, and in that instance, you can actually forget, or maybe they can lose you into all that intellectual mumbo jumbo. But not to talk about anything from the Joe Rogan show, he actually is an amazing interviewer. And the only reason why I put him below Vlad is because Vlad really got me into YouTube. And Vlad has quite a bit of variety. I mean, Joe Rogan has variety too, but it's not as compared to Vlad. His interviewing style is just not intellectual mumbo jumbo. Like the interviewing style is so simple that anybody can actually listen to the conversation and follow it to a T. And that's the only reason why I put him as number 1. So then number 3 would be, when I say Jordan Peterson. So Jordan Peterson can be very overwhelming because obviously he's an academic guy, so he's coming from academia. So his interviews are highly intellectual, right? So at least you have to have a dictionary close to you. I mean, a person like me who needs to have at least a C-level student, I need to have like a dictionary to just comprehend what he's saying. But he does cater to a lot of topics. He talks about mental health, talks about society as a whole. He talks about the position of a man in society today, and how his joy is diminishing, or maybe it's not being so much cared for or so much appreciated. And then he talks about a myriad of things. So at least if you're looking for like something intellectually stimulating and also something that's catering to like the social economic status of the world today, I think the Jordan Peterson podcast is an amazing one. And then the number 4 on my list, maybe the Anton Daniel show. So I learned of them on the Lepif network, right? I think I wanna say it was one of the hosts on there, if I'm not mistaken. But I know he played a big role. So from there, I initially thought that his content was mostly like relationship stuff. So I never really dug into his content too much because I was just under the misconception that that's what he did full time. But as I started digging into the Millionaire Morning Show, I can see that he has a myriad of content too. I mean, he's talks about economics. He talks about his life story of how he worked for GM, and then when the automotive industry collapsed, how he made a transition to his his parents' basement, and how he made it out of that. He ended up with Michigan State, actually U of M, University of Michigan for those who may not know. And then how he got into, I would say, computer science. And now you can see his rise because he's actually doing more interviews. Just the other day I saw an interview of him on the Say Cheese TV. Could be incorrect, but I believe he was on there. And I actually saw an interview he did with Mr. Charleston White. So yes, Anton Daniels is definitely on the rise, and he has a lot of content, and a variety of content at that. And one thing I would say about Anton is I like his audacity. He's not afraid to say what's on his mind, and he does say it with a lot of confidence. I think it's rare to find people with that much audacity and back up what they can actually do, and you actually see them rise. So shout out to you, Anton. I think in a few years when I revise this my top 5 podcast, I think you're probably going to be up there, if not number 0. I know you're a scientist, so you understand when I say if not number 0. So think of 0 as an index. So anyways, and my final one is actually Dissect. So Dissect is I want to say it's strictly on not strictly, but it's on Spotify, and I don't remember the host's name, but his Dissect is strictly a music podcast. So what this guy does is he'll pick a great album from some great artists, right? So the first season, I believe he did Kanye West's My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. And for those who listen to Kanye West, everybody knows that was an amazing album. So he digs deep into that, then I think he did Dissect. So what this guy does is he analyzes what the message is behind the lyrics, right? So he digs deep and deep and deep until you really understand what the artist was trying to portray or what message he was trying to relate to the world. And to me, I think he did an amazing job in analyzing that album. Because I mean, he talks about Kanye from an artist that feels unappreciated, unseen, and mocked by his fellow artists. And then he talks about how much time he put into putting that album together, and talks about how he struggled as an artist, right? How anybody couldn't take him seriously as a rapper. But for him to overcome all those things and all those obstacles and to produce such an amazing piece of work, I think that was beautifully done. But anyways, I couldn't have gotten that back end stories, or maybe that little insight that Kanye put in a lot of time. I mean, for example, he mentions on that one of the episodes saying that Kanye actually put in 5,000 hours in making the song Power. I mean, just think about how much time that is into making a song that's like less than 5 minutes long. So I think if you're looking for a podcast, or maybe a podcast centered around music, I think that would be a great one. So yeah, so I just wanted to drop that real quick. And before I get up out of here, I wanted to maybe ask you to maybe subscribe to the channel, ring the bell, watch out for more content. And I know this was just something I wanted to do on a Friday night. I'll just give you something to ponder on or digest. And if you like stuff like this or content like this, subscribe to your boy. And yeah, keep an eye on me. All right, have a great night.